Hi everyone, it's Leslie, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a pair of these frame earrings. You can see I make them in different colors and they're always popular. And what I'm going to be doing is sewing delica beads to a little frame like this. So let's look at what we have here. I've got a 15 by 30 oval ring. Now I buy these at a shop in New York. When I go down there, it's hard to tell you where exactly to get rings like this. And if you don't find one the same size, you can use other shapes and sizes too. I've got two different colors of delica beads that I've used on the inside and outside. I've got 6mm Swarovski crystal and 6 3mm Swarovski bicones. This color is denim blue. And I've got a couple of links of chain and an ear wire, and I've got a number 10 beading needle and also a couple of arm's lengths of 6-pound smoke colored fireline. So this earring is made with brick stitch, and if you're not familiar with brick stitch, you might want to become a little bit familiar. This is pretty standard brick stitch for this one. Okay, so to get started, the first thing we're going to do is lay in a row on the inside of the ring. So we're going to pick up a bead, leave a little tail, go around the ring and back through and pull it tight. Just like that. And it's easy if your thread exits below the ring. So we're going to do a little pattern around of 3 seed beads and a crystal. And I've made this before, so I know that that's the right proportion to fill this space. Sometimes it takes a little experimentation. So I've put 2 in. I'm going to pick up a 3mm Swarovski bicone. Okay. I start with 2 so I can finish with the last one over here. You'll see that later. Doesn't matter exactly where in the ring you put them for right now. You can move them around. You just keep laying them in there. That's the third one. Okay. And you can see you can kind of move them around a bit. I'm going to put in another bicone. Okay, I'm going to lay in 3 more and then I'll come back to show you the 6mm one at the bottom. Okay, you can see here I've got the 6mm one on my thread. I'm going to put that in right at the bottom. So just hold the thread, pull it tight. These need to move down just a little bit. And we have time to move these around a little bit afterwards to get the proportions right. So I like to kind of hold it at the bottom in the right position. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Again, put that thread down below the ring. That's looking pretty good. Don't worry if it's a tiny bit loose. We'll be going over this thread again for the next interior row. Okay, so I'm going to continue this pattern around this side, and I'll come back to finish up this row. Okay, now we can finish this first row. I've got 5 of the 6 crystals laid in. So for this group of 3, the middle crystal should sit right at the top of the ring. And we can make some adjustments to this. It's not quite there. We'll be pushing them around a little bit when we get them all in here. Okay, I've got my 3. That middle crystal should be right in the middle, right there. Oh. Got my last bicone here. Keep that thread out of the way. And I've got to squeeze one more delica in here. Then we'll have a look at it. Okay. To finish this row off, you want to go back down through the first bead that you put on and back up. So you'll have 2 threads coming out of the same hole. Okay, so that's the first row. Now, you want to look at this and see if everything's balanced. This is at the bottom, the 6mm is at the bottom, the middle one is at the top. It's not quite right. And you want to see that the crystals on the sides are all lined up in nice proportion. So you can kind of push them around a little bit to make it right. You can lean the crystal one way or the other, sticking your needle in it a little bit like that. Okay, so we're ready to finish, or we're ready for the second row. Okay, here we are ready to start our second row. On the inside, I don't know if you noticed, but I made a mistake in the last row and I had to go take some out and put it back. I had only put 2 beads here instead of 3. Something seemed a little off, but I fixed it. That happens, even to me. It's a lot for me to manage the camera and the focus and the beading as well, and I'm still new to YouTube. So what we're going to do is we're going to do these little arches over the beads with brick stitch. So what you're going to do is pick up a bead, go underneath the thread that's holding that Swarovski crystal, and back up through. That's my husband coughing in the background. He has a cold. And there's going to be 3 beads, because these crystals are so small, there's only going to be 3 beads in this little arch. So for the second one, go up, and then go on the other side of the hole, under the thread, and back through the bead. That will center it over the Swarovski crystal. Now, if you're lucky, you can do this in 1 move, or in 2 moves like that. It'll sit right over the top of it. And a 3rd bead next to that. Then you want to go back down through the center bead of the 3 delicas and up again through it, go around the ring and up on the other side of it. That's why you want to have at least 3 beads between, at least 3 delicas between the crystals. You need that. You need to have at least 3, whatever proportion you're working on. You could have 4 too, and then you would just go down and up the next one. Okay, I'm going to show this to you again. Underneath the thread, pull tight. The second one, there's going to be a thread on either side of the whole of the Swarovski crystal. And that time I did it in one. Center it. Three, and down through the central delica, go under the ring and go back up over through the same bead. Now, for the 6mm crystal at the bottom, we're going to do 4, 2 on each side of the hole, just like, whoops, just like this one. One, I used to always try to squeeze extra beads in. I suppose you could fit 5 in here, but when you start squeezing beads in, I've learned that the hard way. It's better to leave a little bit of space rather than to try to squeeze in as many beads as you can. And the only person that will notice is you. No one else will ever notice. Come back here. All right. I'm going to continue around doing this same pattern all the way around, and I'll show you how to end the row. Okay, here's what it looks like, and I'm about to lay the last row in, or the last bead in this row in. Now for this one, the last one, you're going to stay on the outside. So go through that central bead. And that's what it will look like. Now we're going to do the outside row. So the other color, you're going to pick up 2. And this is going to be brick stitch around the edge. Now, you need to be a little bit careful. Don't disturb the proportions that you've laid down so nicely. Make sure your beads are all sitting properly, because if you're not watching, they could be kind of pushed out of the way by the beads on the outside edge. This has happened to me without me even realizing it, just going on autopilot around and around, and then suddenly noticing my pattern has been disrupted on the inside. So this is completing the row on the outside. One of the hardest things about this is making sure you end up right at the very top. So you can center your jump rings. See, I've got just a little bit of space. I can push those a little bit and add an extra bead. I always find getting that proportion the hardest. Okay, and we're going to pick up our 2 jump rings and another bead. Center those right at the top. Go around them again at least once to reinforce. That's sitting all right. Okay. And you're just going to keep break stitching around and just looking to make sure that the pattern, the beads on the inside stay where they are, that you don't push them out of the way. And I will come back at the end to show you how to finish this off. Okay, I'm just about to put the last couple of beads in. Well, we'll see how many can fit in here. Looks like it's going to work out for me to put one more in, I think. This happens all the time though. I come to the end of the row and there's like space for half a bead. And my advice is don't try to shove another bead in there. I always do that and then they get too crowded. It's better to err on the side of a few less. You can always move them around a little bit with your finger. Going back through the first bead I did, first bead I laid in. And that's it. Now you want to tie off these threads. I'm going to go up and down a couple of times and then cut it on the outside edge because that's the easiest place to cut. But otherwise, they're all done. Congratulations, you just made your first pair of earrings with brick stitch around a ring.